Hey, help support the show by becoming a member on Patreon or YouTube. You'll get 4 bonus videos a month, plus ad-free versions of every Junkyard Pod, and a special shout out at the beginning of each video. This is the best way to help me as a creator, and so thank you, and go Cavs.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Let's get ready to
When you look at this Cavs team, Darius and Donovan, for example, at times it looked awkward. Even at times this year it looked a little awkward, but they've had 3 years now to put it together. And so we're seeing them play at a level that they haven't before. And it's like, well, that's what happens when you have a long-term vision and you commit to a core and you give them a chance to grow together. If they would have traded Darius Garland for who knows what this summer, the Cavs aren't a 65-win team. Mm-hmm. It just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it's that continuity, getting guys to buy in, and like Donovan Mitchell, he's a huge part of this because like he cares, right? Like it's so obvious he cares. One of the things I love about what I'm watching right now is they're all there, like watching these guys play because they want to encourage these guys who don't get rewarded with playing time very often by rooting them on, right? It matters to them, and that is how you build something in the NBA. And it's not all Tristan Thompson. I don't want to make this seem like Tristan Thompson's the only piece here, but it's like appreciating that mindset from the top of the organization on down and the value of that means that trickles into your bench and everything else. So it's trickle down Tristanomics. That's what we're going to call it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But it's understanding like, hey man, it matters to be a part of this organization, and it's prestigious to be a part of this organization. And we've all like experienced this in some way, shape, or form. It's why the customer service at Chick-fil-A is so much better than at like Wendy's, because nobody cares about being a Wendy's worker. But there is like a little bit of like, hey man, I work at In-N-Out. I work at
Chick-fil-A culture.
Chick-fil-A, yeah. It's like, you know, they make sure it's the culture, right? They got their own version of Tristan Thompson out there, which is like whatever the manager is, right? But it's important, right? Like if you look at it differently, you're going to have a different attitude about it. And it's why you can bring guys on and get more out of them, right? You know, maybe Ty Jerome would have been successful in Golden State, but if he stayed somewhere like New Orleans, like maybe it just doesn't hit him the way it needs to hit him, right? Because maybe he don't care as much. This stuff, it's not the stuff we talk about a lot because we spend so much time in the NBA only talking about how great your individual player is, and if your individual player's greatness is enough to carry you throughout everything. And for an era of basketball where there was LeBron, Kobe, like constant top 10 players of all time dominating the era, so good that they have their own gravity and their own culture surrounded with them. Okay, it changes a little bit, but now that we're in this era where there's no dominant force in the NBA the way that it's existed the last 10, 15 years, this is the stuff that's going to matter, right?
Yeah.
Like
it's the stuff the things on the margins. The tiny difference makers, for sure.
Yeah, when parity becomes the norm, this is what sets you apart from just being another talented basketball team. And it looks like Kenny understands that, like the respect he treats Tristan with. The fact that he got ejected just to defend Tristan Thompson, right? Because he's like, oh yeah, I'm protecting the legend. like, you know, I'm protecting a local hero. Maybe that's the better way to use him, right? But I got to stick up for that guy. And that's important. People want to know they're going to be taken care of. They want to work somewhere they're taken care of, whether it's Chick-fil-A, whether it's the NBA. You want to know that, like, hey, like you don't just work no trash job, right? You work somewhere that has standards, and people buy into those standards and want to live up to those standards naturally.
Yeah, no, this is a fantastic point.
Their G League development has been really good as of late. You know, like.
Yeah. Even what look at this game, they're up 20 with the G League guys have played all game, and Indiana had some rotational players out there to start this game, and you know, Emoni, Naquan Tomlin, Luke Travers, like the top to bottom, they've done a good job. Kobe Altman's done a great job, and even like you mentioned Kenny Atkinson a few times, but like even that move, bringing in a guy who has, I know he was an assistant coach in Golden State, but he's won a championship. He's actually, he's got some real experience, and JB is one of the younger coaches in the NBA. He's still kind of developing as a head coach, but this Cavs team and Kobe Altman it's a little bit of both. It's like he was patient with JB. They gave JB plenty of opportunities to take the next step. So it's not like they threw him under the bus or blamed him for everything. We reached a point where it just felt like, all right, yeah, it's time for both sides to split here. It was a very respectable decision to fire your coach. They didn't fire JB 10 days before the playoffs like we've seen some other franchises do, right?
3 teams do this year.
They treated him with respect, and that matters to the players too. It's like, okay, because when you fire the coach like that, it's a little disrespectful. Like even if the players had kind of, if the coach had lost the locker room, it's still like it makes you look at the franchise a little bit. Just like, okay, this is how we're making decisions now. And so you treat JB with that respect, but you show the players not at the same time, you show them that, okay, we're not getting complacent. We are trying to improve, and we have decided that it's time to move on. Let's bring in a championship head coach or a championship assistant coach. Let's make him our head coach, a guy who is known for his offense, and let's see if we can get the most out of the players. And it has. So again, like top to bottom, it's just been brilliant team building from Kobe Altman. And obviously the players are important in buying into that as well. Like Darius Garland just a year ago. I want to spend this fourth quarter just kind of recapping like how we got to where we are now and recapping this incredible Cavs season. And when you think about where we were a year ago, man, things were dark. The Cavs were not playing their best basketball going into the playoffs last year. Donovan Mitchell looked hurt. We thought maybe Donovan Mitchell was going to be gone in the summer. We thought once the playoffs ended that Darius Garland might demand a trade if Donovan Mitchell resigns. It was all bad. But these guys,
that our best player was hurt, thinking about leaving, and then we're playing Orlando, right?
Yeah.
Like last time that happened, it wasn't great.
It's just it was so like it looked like the house of cards might completely collapse. And not only did Kobe Altman handle it perfectly, but the players said, all right, we're tripling down on this together. Donovan Mitchell, I'm signing the extension. Darius Garland, I'm not demanding a trade. That like trade rumor was there for like a week and then completely disappeared. Darius Garland was like, no, I'm here. Let's do this. Evan Mobley signs his extension. Top to bottom, everyone just buys in completely. And that was like, I said it over and over again throughout the entire offseason last year, 2 years ago, multiple years in a row. It's like, the best version of the Cavs is most likely going to be the core four growing together and reaching their potential. Sure, you could trade for Brandon Ingram, you could trade for whoever else, but like the highest ceiling this team has is the core four growing together and reaching their potential. And that's not a guarantee that it would ever happen, but that was the most success that they could have. And this year, they've kind of done it. We're about to win our 65th game of the season. I don't think any of us – what was your, like, entering the season, what was your, like, best-case scenario for this Cavs team? What would you have predicted?
I was at like 55 wins would be like, okay, a generous. Like we could be a top 3 seed, feel really good about it, and maybe a threat to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Like I thought that would be a generous assessment. I definitely didn't have them going over what 2016 did to get the 1 seed, which was 57 wins, which they are about to clear by like 8 games right now. And like the Cavs are so high at a point of this season that 65 wins don't feel like enough, right? Because they were based on like 70.
They could have got 70, if they didn't let up a little bit, they could have won 70.
Or if they just played Tristan Thompson more, Yeah,
clearly.
But they've exceeded expectations 3 times over to the point to where the expectations we had at the beginning of the season don't even matter anymore, right? Like, and they haven't mattered since the All-Star break, to be honest, right? Like we've been resetting ever since we won the second game against the Boston Celtics. It's been like, oh wait, more might be possible with this team. And you brought up something there with the development and working with things. And look, this is where I'm going to sound like a boomer. This is where the millennial in me is going to come out, right? But we have lived in times of we live in a disposability mindset, right? Where it's like, oh, that thing's broken, let's just get a new one, right? Because it's cheap to get a new one. Not anymore, but it's cheap to get a new one. And this has made us kind of get used to just throwing stuff out. Oh, it's not working. Let's try something else, right? That's kind of been the dominant mindset for a lot of folks my age and younger, and even people older than me. And we haven't really valued the strength of repairing something. And I think what them saying, hey, we're not trading the core four, right? We're not breaking you guys up. It forced Darius and Donovan to talk about like, hey, how can we make this work, right? He talks about having the big boy conversation, right? His first big boy conversation in the NBA. Whether you traded Darius Garland or not, he was going to have one of those conversations eventually in his career, and he was going to benefit from it. He could either benefit from it from you here, or he could benefit from it in Miami or something like that, right? Where they're going to sit him down and make him have that conversation. But you get that development from Darius, right? He understands, okay, this is how I can be successful. This is what I need to be. And now when you win 65 games, winning a championship is not this hypothetical far off thing anymore that you might have to make some sacrifices for down the line. It's real. It's right in front of you. So you're like, oh, I need to do this. I need to we can win it this year. It's not hypothetical anymore. It's not just something Donovan Mitchell is saying, because it could just become something a star player say, I want to win a championship, right? Everybody says that. But when you're close to it, it's like, okay, these are the sacrifices that need to be made. And you create an environment where not only are those sacrifices encouraged, but you're going to be rewarded for it in the long term by having, one of your most successful seasons. And it builds trust in your teammates so you can understand, okay, I can sacrifice and it's not going to hurt the team. Because another thing that happens with NBA players, they don't get to the NBA by thinking, I could just take the day off and we're going to be okay, right? They don't get to the NBA by thinking like everything's going to be cool if I don't show up. They usually have to be the guy who shows up every level that they play. So being told, hey, take a step back, let the other guys play, unless you play to like Sierra Canyon, that's not something you learn at a young age. So that's something that has to be adjusted to, right? Where it's like, okay, you have to learn how to play with other stars to get the most out of them and how you're going to get yours and how you're going to adjust. And you can't just blow up the whole thing because it's not working quite right now. Maybe it'll work in a couple weeks or in a year or two, right? And, there was enough there with the Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell pairing that, I thought throwing it out because Darius had a year where he was clearly affected by a jaw injury and saying that's the Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland experiment in whole would be a great mistake. And boy, how foolish would we look if we would have traded him for like Brandon Ingram right now, right? Like, or something along those lines where we're trading for something more expensive, less productive, but he can play wing, right? And then we don't get DeAndre Hunter because of that. We're just overall worst team. Oh, it looked like Naquan hurt himself. Yeah. You don't ever want to see that. Oh, it might be knee-to-knee contact because they're both down.
Hopefully that's all it is. And also, I'm just for the YouTube audience who will be watching this later, we're recording this while watching the fourth quarter of Cavs Pacers. So just want to provide context for anyone who's like, what is this side tangent they just went on? Yeah, Tomlin just bumped knees with someone. So hopefully you'll have an update by the time this goes up. Yeah.
By the way, this new generation of kids are bringing back the long socks.
Yeah, no, I've been noticing it. The long shorts are kind of making a comeback too. I think just slightly. I think we're starting to see. It was short shorts, then we got to the long shorts in the 2000s. The short shorts started to come back in the 2010s, early 2020s, and I feel like we're starting to see that window slide back over to the baggy shorts. I'm seeing it more recently.
Yeah, it's all just changing so rapidly, right? Like,
we're speed running these phases now. Yeah, it used to take decades to get here. It was like just a couple years ago the short shorts were the thing. Now it's the long shorts are starting to come back.
The short shorts had like a 4-year run. Like the baggy shorts were like 99 to like 98 to like 2016. Like
probably, yeah.
Everybody, you go back and watch the 16 finals, you don't realize how long the shorts are, but you're like, oh man, those shorts are long, right? Because like the shorts got like hiked up significantly in the late 2010s. But yeah, it's interesting how like the gear changes and what people like to wear and all that stuff. But yeah, just the culture fit and the stuff that they've done to invest in these guys and not let them take the easy way out, right? Do the hard work. Figure it out with each other. You're two small guards. You can't win a championship like that. Well, you can. It's been done before. It's just not the easy way to do it. The easy way to do it is to get a dude named LeBron James, number 1 overall in the draft, and then he can just like take care of all of that at 6'8", 200-something pounds. But look, you don't always have a LeBron James available. You don't always have a 6'6" shooting guard who can make all the shots off the wing that you need him to make. Like, you don't always have that available to you. So if you don't have that guy, you got to figure out a different way to do it. And just because it's not the common way to do it doesn't mean that it can't be done if you don't approach it the right way. And I applaud the Cavs for understanding, hey, this is what we have. We can build something really successful with it. And let's see how far we could take it, and having the balls to say we're even going to trade for a player to make this work better, right? That takes a lot of balls and like a lot of ability to humble yourself when you have no reason. Damn, Jason Tyson, when you have no reason to humble yourself, because they didn't have any reason to think that it couldn't work, and they could have been arrogant and be like, we have the best record in the NBA with George Niang playing 12 minutes a game. The NBA Twitter can shut up about George. Yeah. We're right? But they said, nah. We understand the problems with playing George Niang. We're going to go out and get a DeAndre Hunter, even if it costs us George and Karras. And I think that stuff's important, right? For development, it's important to maintain. And I'm glad the Cavs have operated and stayed away from the reactionary nature of sports talk when it comes to their decision-making processes, because it has help this team become what they are today, which is the best team in the East, and you can argue the best team in basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're saying it perfectly, because the easiest way to win a championship is you get like a LeBron James type player. But even if you have LeBron for 11 years, you might only win one chip. Like, it's just that damn difficult to build a championship. And so if you're being very reactive and just blowing things up every time a season doesn't go your way, your margin for errors, you're just never going to win a championship that way. You have to have some stability, have some continuity, do all the right things, and just hope that eventually it starts to fall into place for you. And back to like what you mentioned with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell having that big boy conversation together. This was one thing that I was pushing all last summer once that Darius Garland trade rumor stuff came out. It's like, hey, whether Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell, like wherever these two are playing, and this is no disrespect to either one of them, but I don't think Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland can be the clear number one option on a championship team. If either one of those guys wins a championship, it's going to be because they're one part of a bigger puzzle piece. Now, maybe Donovan Mitchell's the number one scoring option, but he's not going to win a championship without Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, these other guys being huge parts of it, right? Like, it's not going to be a LeBron James carrying you to the chip or Kawhi Leonard or whoever. It just doesn't really happen like that for guards of that caliber. And so no matter what, those two, like you said, we're going to have a big boy conversation, whether it's in Miami, in New York, in Cleveland, wherever it was. And so the fact that they sat down and figured it out together, and it showed too, like you mentioned earlier, Donovan Mitchell, a lot of superstars, they can say every year, yeah, we're competing for a championship, but like, do you actually mean that? Are you actually doing everything you can to compete for it? Or are you just saying that because it's media day and that's what people say at the beginning of the season? I think they've shown this year that no, they're actually buying in and trying to do everything they can to make this a championship team, to the point where something that I've noticed this year, that again, just trying to think of like where we were at the start of the year to where we've come now. One thing that was really like a big indicator for me during media day and during the run up to the season starting is years prior. I think we maybe have even talked about this before. You look like last year or 2 years ago, you asked Donovan Mitchell, what are the Cavs fighting for? He's like, oh, we're competing for a championship this year. We want to win the chip. Then they asked Darius Garland or Evan Mobley or JB, and they're like, yeah, like a first round, a competitive first round would be cool or something. It's like completely different expectations. Donovan Mitchell is talking about, we want to win championships. Everyone else is like, yeah, we just want to make it to the playoffs, be competitive. This year, from the start, you asked them what they wanted to do. Evan Mobley's like, I want to be an all-star, all-NBA player, win Defensive Player of the Year, and compete for a championship. Darius Garland's like, you asked him, and I think they asked him around the all-star break about like their success, and he's like, we've had success in the regular season. I don't really care anymore. I want to win a championship. They're all talking about it now, and so that lets you know, like you said, we're about to win 65 games. We're right there. This isn't a hypothetical anymore. We could do this. So whatever other parts of the game we need to clean up, let's take care of that right now, because this could be our window. And so seeing them take that step, just in terms of like manifesting it, even like actually saying like we want to win championships, that's new this year.
Yeah, and I think that comes with, I think Kenny is a huge part of that, right? because one of the things I think Kenny has done is instead of worrying about, because I think he saw this sometimes with JB. JB is used to young teams, and JB don't want to put too much pressure on a young team because you're trying to build them, right? You're trying to develop them. It makes sense for the role that JB was asked to come in here to do after John Beeline was here. But Kenny is in the position where it's like, no, you guys need to embrace the pressure. Like, yeah, say you're the best team in the NBA. Oh, it's going to put a target on your back. You got to learn to live with that if you want to be good. Right? Like, you win a championship,
you got to do
that puts a target on your back. If you talk shit, say you want to be the defensive player of the year, it puts a target on your back. You know who doesn't worry about a target being on their back? The people who deserve to have the target on their back, right? Like, if you can handle the pressure, then you can hold the target. Then that also means you the man, you the champ, right? And I think that's the mindset difference of this team, which is instead of looking at things and worrying about the pressure it's going to put on them. I don't want to say we're going to win the championship. I want people to look at us and give us that pressure. It's like, nah, I want that. Like this year, we could just see it in the fan base. It's different. So many years, it was about who we could avoid in playoffs. Oh, I don't want to play this team. Oh, man, I'm so scared of this team. They got that guy and this guy. I don't want to play Giannis or something like that, right? That's all the conversation. Last year was an epitome of that because we're out here losing a game specifically just so we can avoid somebody in the playoffs. And again, granted, the Cavs have the 1 seed, so like they don't have to play those games anymore. But I don't think they would play those games even if they were in that situation because I look at this Cavs team, I'm like, no, they want to play New York. Like, they want to play
I think they
Boston.
just proved it in that last game against the Knicks, too. They had nothing to play for. No reason to try in that game. They go down by 23 points in the first quarter, too, or second quarter, still come back and whoop them in New York for no reason other than, hey, we like to win basketball games. This is who we are. We're winners. We don't want to lose anything.
And last year, if the Boston Celtics had gotten eliminated in the first round, the Cavs would have been excited. I get the sense that if the Boston Celtics get eliminated by like the Detroit Pistons or something like that, the Cavs would be like, damn,
we wanted to
I kind of wanted to beat them. Right? Yeah. Like I was looking forward to the challenge of playing them. And that is a team that's ready for the challenge. I know that the national media loves to talk about, oh, they're a young team. They haven't been through. But when you see them take on every challenge of the pressure of being the best team in the NBA, the best team in the East, they have carried that burden loudly. And they've carried that target proudly. And look, they've had a target on their back since they went 15-0 to start the season. So it's not like they just got this target at the All-Star break, went on a run. People have been like, oh, the Cavs, they're supposed to be the best team in the NBA. Let's try to take them down a peg this whole year, and they have embraced that challenge. So that's what makes me think when they go into the playoffs, what's really going to change? Are the Pacers going to try to beat you more? Or are the Magic going to try to beat you more? Like you've been dealing with them giving you their best effort, their game plans, trying to take that target off your back because the Cavs have been the biggest win on all 15 of those teams they've lost to's record this year. Every time somebody beats the Cavs, whole crowd, woo, celebrate. What a huge win for us, right? That's been them this whole year. They've been the team that people have circled on their backs, and they've still been able to do this. And that's why I'm like, all right, man, like people want to act like it's a different game in the playoffs, and it is because people are checking for you, but people have been checking for the Cavs all year. Boston was checking for the Cavs in that last game they played. I remember talking about it with you.
They wanted that.
Both teams want this game more than like what the record reasons for getting this, because Boston didn't want the Cavs to think they could beat them, and the Cavs didn't want to go into that game thinking, hey, we can beat Boston. All right, the Cavs need to start tightening up here. But
yeah, I know this is going to make our all of our predictions. They're about to finish with 65 wins. They're gonna blow it right here. It's only going to be 64. It's a
the vibe changes now for first round bounce. Kendrick Perkins, right? But yeah, I think that's been the big difference this year is that the challenge, they've been willing to embrace the challenge, and not only embrace the challenge, but they've met the challenge. The whole All-Star break slumping thing, right? They responded to that with a 15-game win streak.
Yep.
You know, so that's what makes me feel different about this team. Also, I think they're way more experienced than people give them credit for. And I think that also matters as well. So yeah, for as much as the Cavs get flack for not being this super experienced team, even though teams like New York get away with it, despite the fact that they are similarly inexperienced. Like you'd be surprised that New York hasn't been to a conference championship game. You don't know when the last time the Knicks were in the conference championship game was?
It's got to be the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Wow, I wasn't even alive.
You weren't alive. Jalen Rose had no hairline. Bill Clinton was the president for a couple of years. Still hadn't been impeached.
Yeah.
Like LeBron was in middle school. Like
it's been forever.
The world, they haven't been to the conference championship game. I think that's a pre 9/11 stat, right? Like since when they've been there. So. Like TSA didn't exist the last time the New York Knicks went to the conference championship, but yet like people are like, "Oh, the Knicks are so experienced, they're so gritty. They've lost in 6 games to the Atlanta Hawks, right? Like they haven't had the same first round embarrassment. Oh shit,
man.
This got
close.
Cavs
are blowing this game right now. This is tough. We're hyping them up so much. Let's be clear. I know I said top to bottom they've done a great job. This is still we got our two-way guys out there. So let's be a little lenient with them. Hopefully they close this up. Come on, Tomlin.
Naquan Tomlin clutch 3 right here. Oh no,
big
Jalen
rebound.
Tyson rebound. Emoni Bates. They're not calling anything.
Oh man. Okay, I had 2 takes. I remember one of them. I'm blanking on what the other one was. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can recollect. What were we just talking about? We were talking about Cavs have a target on their back. Oh, okay, I got it. Pressure. The Cavs, they've had a target on their back all season. We're talking about the difference from this season to last year, right? Here's one thing that I pulled up because I remember seeing the stat and I had to confirm it. Think about last season. Anytime you were like, all right, the Cavs, they're on national TV. We got a huge game coming up. It's against Boston. It's against whoever. This is a big game. We're all excited for it. It's a game that feels like it means something. How many times did they just completely come out and wet the bed? They're down by 20 in the first quarter. It's ugly. It's bad. They don't look like they're ready for the moment. Every time they played the
Warriors from like 2022 to 24. That's why I was like, this is different. When they just started blowing, I was like, either this is different or the Warriors are bad. And it was a little bit of both, right? Like, especially before they traded for Jimmy.
They blew the doors off of Golden State that game. Yeah. I don't know what they ended up winning by, but I know they were up by 40 for most of that game. And that to me was that was like sometime early November. That was the first moment this season where I said, okay, hold on. We might actually be something this year. It's still early, but they're blowing. Like, they didn't do that before. They didn't come out in big games and absolutely ball out. And so I pulled this stat because I saw people tweet it, but I wanted to confirm. The Cavs this year have the best record in the NBA against teams who are top 10 in net rating. So the top 10 teams in the NBA, the Cavs have the highest win percentage against them. They went 16-6. I'll pull real quick last year's record. I didn't check it yet, but let's just see. The Cavs went 16-6. That's a 72% win percentage. Let's see what last year's team is. I'm doing this live, waiting for it to load. Give me a second. I thought it would load a little faster. I'm holding you guys in suspense. The Cavs last year went 10-16, 38 win percentage. So huge night and day difference. The fact that you can beat the best teams in the NBA consistently, that's a huge sign of growth. That's maturity. That's handling the pressure in a way that Kenny Atkinson challenged them, right? Like, we talked about this a few times, but Kenny Atkinson, absolute madman, brilliant basketball mind. He looked at the last couple of years and said, wow, the Cavs, after the All-Star break, they just fall apart every year. I'm going to make a point of emphasis to challenge them. Can you actually sustain this throughout the entire season? Like, there's a balance between resting and not getting rusty, as Kenny Atkinson has said. But you look at it, they have the third best. I know it feels like the Cavs haven't played their best basketball post All-Star break, but they have the third best record in the NBA since then. They're tied with Golden State for it. So it's like they're still playing at a very high level. This is not letting go of the rope in the ways that they did in years past. So to me, this season, obviously you got to prove it in the playoffs, right? There's stuff that you have to do in the playoffs to like that matters more than the regular season. But these 82 games have proven to me, they've shown me everything that I could possibly see in the regular season to believe that this team can win a championship. Are they the favorites? I'd still probably take Boston ahead of them. I might even take OKC ahead of them. But they're one of the teams right now that legitimately have a chance. And entering the season, I wasn't expecting that. I was right there with you. I was like, if they can be the 2 seed, let's try to get to the conference finals, maybe have a tough series against Boston or something. That was like my best case scenario. Now, this is the first time I've said this before, but I always get viewed as like the person on Cavs Twitter who's too optimistic, who's overly optimistic. But part of that came from my expectations for the team, right? Like I wasn't walking into last season or 2 seasons ago thinking we're winning the championship. I was saying let's win a first round series. I was like JB Bickerstaff in that regard, right? I was like, let's just get a first round win. So when they got a first round win, nice block from Emoni right there too to potentially seal the game here if they can get a stop. Well, they didn't get a stop, but anyways, nice block.
Bomb both his free throws.
Anyways, the point I was building to there is like, yeah, I was seen as overly optimistic because I had very measured expectations for the team. This is the first year where the kitty gloves are off, right? I'm not saying I'm going to be advocating to trade everyone if they lose, but like this is the first time where I'm like, all right, Darius, you've had a couple rough goes at it in the playoffs. Now, there's explanations for it last year, the injury. The year before that, it was your first playoff series. But this is the first time where I'm like, all right, I'm judging you the way that I would judge anyone else who's competing for a championship right now. Like, I am looking at what can you do on the big stage. Same with Evan Mobley. He had a really good series last year against Boston, but it's like, can you do that again? Again, I'm not going to make a sweeping declaration or conclusion for their careers because they're still young, but this is the first time where I'm judging them like a championship team, and I did not expect to be here at this point. I thought we were still a year or two away, but it's what they've shown me all regular season.
And I think another point to bring up is like, yeah, Evan had that good series against Boston, but like they weren't really taking you that seriously because all the injuries that the Cavs had, the Cavs weren't really a legitimate threat to Boston at that time. There's no way that the Cavs aren't going to be taken serious, right? And when you do stuff when people aren't taking you serious, it's not as big as a deal as when you do it when they do take you serious, right? And that's why like this matters because now you're on the clock as a star player in the NBA. You know, you're now officially able to be judged sufficiently and fairly. And look, I share that pain with you because like every time I try to just be rational about the Browns, I get accused of being Mr. Optimistic in there. And I'm like, look, if it looked like the organizational plan was awful, I would tell you. I've said it before when I thought the plan was awful. It's just like, okay, I can see the logic of what they're doing. And, you know, I'm willing to give it time to see if it works out. So, yeah, you know, it's tough trying to just give things a shot, even if you don't agree with them. And they just threw away possession here.
They're straight out of bounds. They're trying hard to blow this one.
Yeah, it's was it Sacramento that they blew on? No, it's San Antonio, the game they almost blew on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think all of that stuff like comes down to it, right? How seriously are you being taken? You're in a different position. People are looking at you different. You know, people are playing you differently. People are you know, if Evan Mobley gets in the playoff series, he's going to be a point of emphasis on both sides of the ball for a team, right? Like you're going to have to look for him on defense, and you're going to have to figure out what you want to do against him offensively as well. Just take the timeout. You call the timeout?
Yeah, okay. Timeout. Man, I did not expect to be sweating this game. I think I'll check the log, but I think we were literally up by 30 when you joined. I think we were up by 30 points when you joined, and that was not that long ago.
Tyson make a logo 3, and I was like, all right, man, what time you want to record this?
Yeah, I was like, we might as well do this now because there's not going to be much to talk about. But
I checked to see if you were in stream on Playback after I sent the text too, because I'm like, all right, let me make sure he's not streaming or something. This he can record early.
It works out anyways, though, because I knew they were playing all the two-way guys today, so I was like, we're not gonna really recap this game. I mainly just want to talk recapping the season, so the results of this game doesn't change anything we said. Oh, man, okay, I'll ask this question right now since we got timeout. Very generic question, but since we're recapping the season, give me one single thing from the season that was your favorite. It could be a game, a moment, anything. What was your favorite moment of the regular season?
There was the comeback victories versus the Boston Celtics for probably the most happy the team has made me. I mean, laughing at the Knicks has always been great. That was fun last night, laughing at the Knicks. Beating them 4 times, not trying 2 of them.
Yeah, not even trying for 2 of them.
Let's see. I would probably go with the last Celtics victory, the way they responded.
It's hard to argue with that.
Yeah, to going down 25-3 on the road. And that was like, after that game, I didn't need to be sold anymore on what this team could do in the postseason. I do have my worries about the whole me. I'm constantly bitching about the rebounds, right? Like the long rebounds and stuff like that. So I feel like that's a key part of why they keep going down 20 to Boston to begin with. But that made me feel like, hey man, if we don't give Boston a 20-point cushion in the first quarter of these games, I think we're the better team. If we play to the capability of where we are, and I think that's the moment that made me really say, hey, we can go all in on believing this is a championship contender. Because that's the kind of stuff championship contenders do. I remember when the Heat, the first year they broke through, right? The Cavs were up by like 30 in the fourth quarter against them. With like Wayne Ellington and Ramon Sessions and all these guys like playing, like the starters were hurt even. I don't even think Alonzo G was like the only starter in that game. Alonzo G, Jesus. Alonzo G was like the only starter in that game. And then the Heat came back, and I remember thinking, LeBron's going to get that championship, ain't he?
They're there.
That championship. They're really good. And that's a similar feeling I got when I saw this Cavs team come back against against the Boston Celtics.
They got to stop.
Tristan, huge rebound.
Here it is, game time, no timeout.
Get rid of the ball, Craig.
Craig for the win. Whoa, dude. He got blocked. Okay.
They called a foul.
Need a timeout there. Oh, did they? A timeout. Good Lord, dude. Bad possession. I know Kenny probably didn't call a timeout because we're just trying to get this all over with, but probably should have called a timeout right there. Oh, this is crazy. But man. I think it's hard to argue with that Celtics game. Definitely, that's probably, I would say off the top of my head, the Celtics game and the first Thunder game were my two favorite wins of the season. Just because the Thunder game, there was so much hype for that, and it completely lived up to it. And the Cavs, if you remember, it was Evan Mobley and Darius Garland down the stretch taking the big shots. That was huge. Even against Boston, we had the Donovan Mitchell explosion, but if I'm remembering correctly, Darius Garland hit a big, I think it was like a pull-up mid-range jumper with maybe a minute left. So just seeing Darius step up and that's one of my favorite things is Darius is like one of the clutch players of the year now. That was not the case in years past. Seeing the Cavs dominate in the clutch has been huge. The chat mentioned Ty Jerome right away. I mean, that came completely out of nowhere. Ty Jerome, the typhoon, all these different key check moments he's had. That's been some of my favorite stuff. The fact that we started the season 15-0, and it wasn't even our biggest win streak of the year. we went on a 16-game win streak later on.
Yeah, it was the one of 3 times we would go on to do that,
Yeah, even that Thunder game, we were on a 12-game win streak, or it became a 12-game win streak.
And the Thunder were on their 15-game win streak.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay, are there any other? I'm coming up with a topic here. Outside of the Celtics, is there any other team in the Eastern Conference that gives you any sort of pause that you think, all right, maybe they could challenge the Cavs? I would take the Cavs over everybody else, but are there any teams that maybe worry you, even just a little bit? Yeah.
No, I think it's just Celtics at this point.
Yeah. You're the only team that I would really worry about.
Yeah, but the Milwaukee Bucks without Dame, I don't think they have enough. The Pacers, they could be annoying because the Pacers are always annoying. Case point, that's right here. Right, they're the most annoying team in the NBA.
Last game of the season was a bit of a disappointment, but overall, this season went about as good as you could have expected, or better than you could have even predicted. Just the regular season, right? We got lots to prove in the playoffs, but it's been such a fun season. It's been fun doing these playback streams. I want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone in the chat who has been here from day one. A lot of day ones here. Dan, Dylan, a lot of people, Dr. Manhattan, everybody. So Demo, we really appreciate it. It's been such a fun season. It's going to be even more fun in the playoffs. It's going to be a lot more stressful. I'm going to be way more anxious. We're going to be tense the entire time, but it was a lot of fun. Huge thanks to everyone who has joined the playback streams too. Quincy, we had the Chasedown boys, Fear the Fro, everyone. We've had lots of great guests here. So it's been an awesome season. I'm just really, really thankful for it.
I don't know if I can join a playback stream during the playoffs because right now I'm minus 38.
The Q net rating is atrocious right now.
Yeah. My minutes are bad right now for being live during the game. But
we've set a bad precedent here.
Yeah, now I'm nervous about streaming during the playoffs.
Man, yeah.
All in all, I mean, this game wasn't going to move the needle either way. It's just been a fun 1 or 2 thing here. Now it's about getting that week off, getting to the playoffs. And I think the most important thing is that you got to the playoffs and you're completely healthy, right? I think, you know, hopefully Donovan Mitchell's fully recovered from whatever he was dealing with. You know, Darius, everybody, you got there healthy, you have your rotation. It looks like the Cavs are going to go with the 10-man rotation from who they sat out today, right? So, you know, we'll see how this looks in the playoffs. It's going to be a long ride, hopefully, right? We're talking about playing till June.
Hope so. Yeah, I hope we got plenty of streams upcoming here. I'm hoping for a deep playoff push, man.
Yep. And, you know, the further you go, the more people are going to talk, the more scrutiny is going to be there. But, yeah, we'll see what the Cavs do. And look, I've been one of the people who've been saying I'm kind of okay with the Cavs not looking amazing going into the end of the season because, like, I think you can get through with the Cavs. Like, they're slumping at like 38% from 3. They can get through the first 2 rounds there, right? But if we want to see them go crazy like they can, get that 60% from 3 week, would love for that to be against Boston, right?
That's going to be timed up perfectly. That's what you got to hope for.
Yeah, so, you know, you want to play your best basketball and have that be ahead of you, and I think this team has their best basketball ahead of them. They're getting rest, practice that they haven't gotten in weeks right now. You know, they're going to be able to practice, rest, recuperate. They finally get to just all the stress of the season, and now they get to focus on what they've been wanting to focus on for like the last month and a half, which is the playoffs here. It'd be interesting to see who we play between Atlanta, Orlando. Who else is there? Chicago's probably not going to make it out to play in. And in the Miami
Heat. It could be their year. It could be their year. Also, my AirPods, that's how you know we've been streaming so long. My AirPods have died. So I don't know if it's echoing. Hopefully it's not echoing. We're at the finish line anyway. But yeah. We got lots of fun stuff coming up, man. This, as much of the basketball was bad today, the stream was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the playoffs. I'm looking forward to all the content that we're going to do. I'm going to be on recording with Quincy tomorrow on his channel. So everyone make sure that you're following him on all those platforms. Thank you again, everyone, for being in the stream, not only today, but throughout the entire season. Thank you, Quincy, for joining me and riding through those 2 overtime periods with me. That would have been brutal doing it alone. So I appreciate you joining. And yeah, man, I'm ready for the playoffs. We're healthy. We're ready to go. Let's play our best basketball. With all that being said, thanks again for joining, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day and go Cavs.